Today's section 5.5 Factoring Complex Sum and Product. Okay, the difference between this lesson and the last lesson is that beautiful and amazing a value is actually there, which means that not that a was 0 before, but a was just 1. This time a is going to be anything else, any other kind of number. So we're going to go through a couple of examples and let's begin. So we've got our amazing equation here, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So now when we solve it's going to be a little bit different. When we did it before, we had two numbers that we're going to add to b, and that still has not changed, okay, to b. But this time, instead of just multiplying to c, we are actually going to multiply it to a and c. So in other words, we're going to take the a and c, we're going to multiply those bad boys together, and then we find out the two numbers that will multiply to that and add to b. And then just like we did with the other one, at least before you saw the shortcut, we would blow up the middle term. Blow up, so a whole bunch of moving around, but you can see blow up the middle term, and then we're going to factor by grouping. And that's it, and then that's all you got to do. But please, remember, always look for a common factor first. No matter what you do, always look for a common factor first. All right, let's go on. So let's look at the example. Factor 3x squared plus 8x plus 4. All right, so this is your classic ax squared plus bx plus c complex sum and product problem. So let's do it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the 3 and the 4. We get 12. So two numbers that are going to multiply to 12 and add to 8. What's those two numbers? You want to pause it and work it out? You can. If you see it already, great. The answers are 6 and 2. And then it works just like the old way. So we've got 3x squared. I'll blow it up. 6x plus 2x plus 4. And then we're going to put our brackets around, factor out what's common. In this situation, it's 3x plus 2 plus, factor out that 2, and we get x plus 2. And how do I know that I've got it right? Come on, you guys can say it. That's right. When the binomials become the same, when we get the two terms are the same. And is it important that the signs are the same? Yes, it is. Good job. So let's take this now. We'll factor that out. We get x plus 2, and what's left over? 3x plus 2. So you'll notice the big difference is that now, at least in one of them, you'll notice that there will be a coefficient in front of the x. All right? And that's it. It's done. You want to see it again? Just rewind it to, rewind this problem. Anyway, let's go to the next one. All right, so next question, we got to take a look. Just like we do with every question, we're going to look for a common factor first. And in this situation, if I look at all three, I'm going to notice that I've got 5 and x as my common factor. So let's common factor those out. And we end up getting 2x squared minus 9x plus 10. All right, so now let's multiply those two together, and we get 20. So I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 20 and add to negative 9. All right, so we can start the clock. You guys can figure out what those two numbers are, and hopefully you were able to figure out that those two numbers were negative 4 and negative 5. All right, so just like anything else, we're going to blow up that middle term. So I'm going to put big brackets again. In a second, I'm going to put big brackets, actually, should I say, because we're going to be doing a little extra work, and we just need to make sure that everything stays organized. So again, remember, I'm only blowing up this middle term because no matter what, we always have to be able to go back to the original question. So now it's time to factor by grouping. So now because I'm going to be putting in a bunch of more brackets, I'm just going to use square brackets because it's just so we can differentiate between all the other brackets. That's all. There's nothing special about them. It's just one is square, one is round. So let's go with the big one. So I'm going to put my brackets around 2x squared minus 4x. And then there's this minus. And remember, big thing to remember. What happens to this sign now that I'm putting the bracket around this and I've kind of factored out that negative? This sign has to change. And there we go. All right, so we're still moving kind of the same way. Again, remember, if I wanted to go back to the original, I still have that opportunity. And we're going to go like that. And keep that. What's common? 2x. And we get x minus 2 minus, factor out that 5, and we get x minus 2. And I know I've done it right because this and this is the same. As soon as I see those are the same, I know I've done it correctly. So I'm just going to kind of make all this stuff a little smaller so I can continue working. And we end up getting 5x. Now we've got our x minus 2, and what's left over is 2x minus 5. And then I just kind of make sure that there's no other common factors anywhere else. And I don't see any common factors here. I don't see any common factors here. And all is good in the world. And if you wanted to expand all this, you should get your answer, or sorry, the original question. And just remember, please, when you're done, just box it. And that's it, guys. That's all it takes. So we'll see you in class tomorrow to finish this up. See you later.